Welcome to Bobby Does Recaps. This is Pluribus Season 1. Vince Gilligan's triumphant return to TV drops us into a quietly terrifying sci-fi world where an alien virus turns humanity into a blissed-out hive mind. Except for 13 stubborn holdouts clinging to their messy individual lives. Rhea Seehorn crushes it as Carol Sturka, a wildly successful romantasy author who secretly despises her own fluffy pirate epics. Now facing the ultimate isolation as the others politely pressure her to join their creepy collective. Think Invasion of the Body Snatchers meets Mr. Rogers. It's a beautiful apocalypse in the neighborhood. It's all about the horror of enforced happiness, consent, and what it means to stay human. Absolute must-binge TV that'll have you side-eyeing your happiest friends. We kick off the show with a team of astronomers picking up a weird radio signal from space. Turns out it's a blueprint for a viral RNA that some overeager scientists recreate in a lab, sparking a global outbreak. Cut to Carol Sturka, our chain-smoking, curmudgeonly heroine and a mega-selling author of a romantasy series who's wrapping up a book tour with her wife and manager, Helen. Upon arriving home in Albuquerque, they're grabbing drinks at a bar when the chaos hits. Everyone but her starts convulsing, including Helen, who takes a nasty head injury in the process. Carol rushes her to the hospital, but it's a madhouse. Doctors dropping mid-surgery, and folks just turning eerily calm. Carol's unable to get any help for Helen and has to watch her pass right in front of her, leaving her devastated. But she doesn't have much time to mourn because at this time a mob of people exit the hospital and one tries to kiss her. When she yells, "What's going on here?" the entire mob of people eerily say in unison, "We just want to help, Carol." She races out of there scared and confused. Now, hold up at home. Carol flips on the TV to a White House broadcast where a guy addresses her directly with an on-screen banner urging her to call a phone number. She calls, and he explains this virus has fused humanity into a peaceful hive mind. Eternally happy, no more conflict, and they share all of the world's memories. From this point on, I'm going to refer to them as the others. Oh yeah, one more thing. She's one of the 13 immune people worldwide. The others promise to grant her every wish, but they're itching to assimilate her too. Talk about a polite apocalypse. Next day, Carol's out back burying Helen when an eerily familiar woman named Zosha shows up. She's channeling bits of Helen's personality because, remember, the hive mind shares all memories. Zosha lays out the new normal. No crime, endless resources, but zero privacy. The others are one big happy family, literally. Carol flips out and slaps her, which somehow overloads the nearby hive connections, causing mass seizures of everybody in the hive. It appears that her emotions can glitch their system. So, at Carol's request, the others organize a meetup for the English-speaking immunes, flying them on private jets. Carol ends up meeting the other immunes, but most are tempted by the bliss and are leaning towards joining. Carol pleads with them, but they are annoyingly kind of okay with the whole ordeal, sending Carol over the edge. Carol's rage triggers another global glitch, and the other immunes bail on her, all except Kumba. He's about to set off to Vegas and asks if he can take Zosha. Carol acts like she doesn't care, but she has a change of heart and races to stop the plane. Now we flash back to 7 years ago. Carol and Helen are on a romantic trip to an ice hotel, freezing her eggs under the northern lights. Sweet but foreshadowy. More on that later. Back to the present. Carol's kind of warming up to Zosha after the immunes rejected her. She calls up Manos after finding out he's a fellow immune refusing to talk to the others. Bad news is he only speaks Spanish. He's holed up in a storage unit in Paraguay, but unable to communicate with each other. Their chat devolves into a screaming match of Spanish insults. Upon returning home, Zosha delivers a gift that Helen had gotten for her and mailed prior to joining the hive mind. But Carol demands the hive forget her wife entirely. Cut to a little bit later, and Carol's starving and pissed about a power outage. She sarcastically asks for a hand grenade to just blow it all up. The others, not getting sarcasm, deliver a real one. After some heavy boozing, a drunk Carol pulls the pin, thinking it's fake. Zosia politely grabs it and hurls it out the window, taking shrapnel in the back to save Carol. While Carol waits in the hospital on Zosia, she tests the limits with one of the others. "Would you give me an atom bomb?" He nervously replies, "Yeah, we'd move heaven and earth to make you happy, even if we didn't feel good about it." What the f? Now we meet Manos. He's ransacking storage units in Paraguay, ignoring the others' offer of food and supplies, living in complete solitude. In Albuquerque, Carol's compiling a dossier on the Hive. They can't lie. They also can't understand sarcasm, hence the grenade fiasco. She grills Zosia on reversing the joining, but the others refuse to answer the question. Carol experiments with sodium thiopental as a truth serum. She tests it on herself and reveals her own buried attractions for Zosia. Later at the hospital, Carol sneaks it into Zosia's IV and pushes for reversal secrets. Zosia glitches hard, going into cardiac arrest. The surrounding others chant, "Please, Carol," like a creepy mantra over and over again. Then, with Carol's permission, they attempt to revive Zosia. It's a brutal reminder of their power, leaving Carol questioning if fighting this polite nightmare is futile. While waiting to see if Zosia's okay, Carol crashes for a nap, waking to find that Albuquerque's population has completely ghosted her, leaving a voicemail that they need space from her negativity. Devastated, she records a video message for the other 12 immunes, spilling everything she's learned and begging for help finding a cure. She's bored, so she starts investigating why the others are constantly drinking milk. She's led to a dairy farm and finds it pumping out this weird crystalline goo. It must be the others' new sustenance, since they can't harm plants or animals. Investigating further, she sneaks into a packing plant and lifts a tarp to reveal something horrifying. The others are harvesting human-derived protein packs from the dead, their ethical workaround for food. Yuck. Carol hits record on her horrific warehouse find. The others are processing food from the 886 million humans who died during the joining. Surely this will win over some of the immunes, right? Desperate now, she heads to Vegas, linking up with Comba in his swanky penthouse. He's living large and already knows her findings via the immune's Zoom calls. He plays her a recording from the immune's group video calls. Turns out they've been excluding her by a majority vote. Ouch. Reminds me of high school rejection, honestly. But there's worse news. The others have figured out how to convert immunes using stem cells to create a customized virus. No worries, though. They insist on consent to extract stem cells. It's their core philosophy. Meanwhile, Menoso finally gets one of Carol's videos, realizing he's not as alone as he thought. And finally, he hits the road towards Albuquerque. Just a heads up, Paraguay is in South America, so it's going to be a long journey. Menoso pushes through South America solo, scraping by on wits and refusing every other's offer, even burning his own car just to prove a point after multiple offers from the others to provide him transport. It gets rough at the Darien Gap. He trips on a rock, impaling his back, cauterizing it like a boss, but passes out from the pain. While unconscious, the others scoop him up and take him to a hospital in Panama. Back to Carol. A month's isolation in an empty Albuquerque has her spiraling into depression. She paints a desperate, "come back" message on her cul-de-sac roundabout. Shortly later, Zosia checks in. Carol breaks down and hugs her, that human connection cracking her shell. It's a poignant shift from defiance to reluctant reliance. Back in Panama, Menoso wakes up raging in the hospital, demanding discharge despite his injuries. So the others, of course, let him go. In Albuquerque, the others are flooding back, and Zosia shows Carol a bizarre sight. the collective sleeping in sync. Carol spends the night grilling Zosha on Origins, finds out the alien signal was meant for multiple worlds, and now they're building antennas to beam it out as well. A diner tied to Carol's early career gets rebuilt as a gesture, stirring nostalgia. Carol wrestles with emotion. This limbo can't last. The hive distracts with perks, but Zosha leans in for a kiss, and they get it on. Complicated, sarcastic sparks flying amid the emotional minefield. Carol looks happier than we've seen her in the entire show, and she even starts writing the sequel to her book series. She's finding a sliver of purpose. Days pass, and Zosha warns Carol that Manos is closing in on the border. He will be here soon. Manos rolls into town. Carol uses a translator app for their awkward meet. He's all about destroying the hive if it can't be reversed. Carol stashes him at a neighbor's house and calls Zosha over for a private chat. Manoso finally decides to talk to an other and summons one to the house. He triggers a test seizure. This sends Zosha at Carol's place into a seizure as well. Carol rushes next door and shuts the test down. She's furious. This prompts the others to evacuate the city once again. So Carol and Zosha decide to jet off on a 2-week world tour. They're having a great time, but the news of the Peruvian immune willingly joining the others via custom virus shakes Carol. In addition, Zosha confesses that they're extracting stem cells from Carol's frozen IVF eggs to brew her personal virus, and it'll be ready in a month. Carol returns home with a big crate and sends Zosha away. She tells Manos, "You win, we save the world." He asks, "What's in the crate?" And Carol nonchalantly answers, "An atom bomb." And that's where Pluribus Season 1 comes to an end. If you like this recap, please hit that like button and subscribe for more of the second best recaps.